Street, how's it going? How's it going? That's okay. That's all right. Well, that was good. Thank you guys for joining us here today. My name is Amy. This is Dwayne, and this is Andrew back here. This first song we're going to sing today, we would love for you to stand and sing this with us. It's a fun song, upbeat song, but pay attention to the lyrics. It's actually pretty heavy. Better than the riches of this world, better than the sound of my friends' voices, better than the biggest dreams in my heart, and that's just the start. Better than the riches of this world, better than the sound of my friends' voices, better than the biggest dreams in my heart, that's just the start. Better than getting what I say I need, better than living the life that I want to, better than the love anyone could give. Your love is to hold me now in your arms and never let me go. You give me a breath and all your love. I give my heart to you because I can't stop falling in love with you. I'll never stop falling in love with you. Better than the riches of this world, better than the sound of my friends' voices, better than the biggest dreams in my heart, that's just the start. Better than getting what I say I need, better than living the life that I want to, better than the love anyone could give. Your love is, you hold me now in your arms and never let me go. The sunshine and the moonlight and the night sky. You give me a breath and all your love. I give my heart to you because I can't stop falling in love with you. I'll never stop falling in love with you. I can't stop falling in love with you. I'll never stop falling in love with you. Lord, make the sunshine and the moonlight and the night sky. You give me a breath and all your love. I give my heart to you because I can't stop falling in love with you. I'll never stop falling in love with you. I can't stop falling in love with you. I'll never stop falling in love with you.
This morning. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us and worshiping together. Just great when we can gather together in community. Hey, we're going to take this time and continue our worship, but through giving. So if you consider Main Street Church to be your church home, we invite you to partake in the offering. If you're hanging out with us for the first time or still walking through that, not necessary. But this is just an incredible opportunity to give thanks to God for all of the amazing resources He's placed in our care and just support the amazing work that He's doing in our community. So a couple ways that you can give online. You have some options there, some links to click. In person, we have our brown crock in the back under the coffee sign. We have our QR code signs to the right. But again, church, awesome to be together today. Let's continue to worship through song with song number 2. Take it away.
Your love, oh Lord, reaches to the heavens. Your faithfulness stretches to the sky. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountain. Oh, oh, oh. Your justice flows like the ocean's tide. And I will lift my voice to worship you, my King. And I will find my strength in the shadow of your wings. Your love, oh Lord, reaches to the heavens. Your faithfulness stretches to the sky. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Oh, your justice flows like the ocean's tide. And I will lift my voice to worship you, my King. And I will find my strength in the shadow of your wings. I will lift my voice to worship you, my King. And I will find my strength in the shadow of your wings. Your love, oh Lord, reaches to the heavens. Your faithfulness stretches to the sky. Please bow your head as we pray. Oh Lord, thank you so much for your great, great love. Thank you so much for reminding us, not just on Sundays, but every single morning, Lord, that you are better than everything we have, everything we think we need, better than the riches of this world, and that you're the one who provides all those things to us anyway. Lord, we just pray that you continue to remind us to be good caretakers and stewards of all that you've given us, Lord, and that we may remember that it all does come from you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. Testing. Are we good? Oh, sweet. Thank you for joining us this morning, and it's good to be back after 2 weeks of being online only and just taking a small break as kind of things got a little bit ramped up with COVID, and just wanted to make the wise choice of what it means to kind of just be a servant in our community and be wise with just with the opportunities that we have. And so thank you for those that took that break with us. I know many are online with us, and we are okay with that. We love that. We consider those that are online with us just as much as being here, with the one aspect of if you are comfortable being here, we want you to be here. If you feel like you can be here and you feel like you're safe, we want to be in community as much as possible. Main Street was built in a living room, and it wasn't built on a screen. And part of what it was built on was couches, and we even brought some of those couches back with us, and even in our room here, and it was built on relationships. And it is difficult and challenging to do relationship online. I know all the cool kids are doing it now. I get that. But it's not the same in my mind. And I think there's some massive aspects of church that are missing when you don't have that chance to do life together. But especially understand for those that don't feel comfortable and don't believe it's wise, completely understand that at this stage. I want to give you a little update. For some of you may know, some of you may not know. It has been a challenging week for my family. Today, Main Street has always been authentic. We've always been transparent. It's about who we are, and it's about how we present ourselves. We don't have big lights. We don't have big fog machines. We don't have those things. That's not who we are. We are an abandoned warehouse in the middle of a small community of 6,000 or so people, and we are us. And we are walking through the journey of discovering who Jesus is together and allowing him to fill our lives. And you kind of get what you get. And what you're going to get this morning is not a strong pastor that has a lot of internal strength right now. We buried my father-in-law unexpectedly this week. It's not what we thought we were going to be doing. It is not what we had expected. We had enjoyed a beautiful Christmas and Thanksgiving and had no idea this was around the corner. My wife and family members are watching back in Coldwater, and we're hurting. I don't know how else to say it. We're hurting. We're physically tired. My family just got done with fighting through COVID, where the vast majority of our family had it, and overall, a blessing not to be in bad shape like many have been. But still tough. Over the last 16 months, my wife and I have buried 3, and our family has buried 3 close relatives. That meant huge amounts to us. And so I would love to be able to tell you that you're walking into a place where you're going to get this strength and power and this view of a person who's got it all together and who you can go, woo, man, I wish I could be there. I am going to be quite honest. I don't think any of you want to be where I am right now. I don't think you want to be in that tired place. I don't think you want to be there. But I also don't think it's fair to me to not allow you to see that in life there is pain, that there are struggles, that in a culture where we try to lift people up who hold a mic or who sit in front of a screen and try to act as if they're something that they are not, that it is not fair to you to act as if I'm not hurting and that I'm not tired. I am. Like many of you. Like many of you. Less so than many of you. And so the question is when we hit these places, what do we do? Ironically, when everything's going good, we don't tend to ask that question. We live on our high horse and we live in our world that we have created and that we have molded and that we have manufactured, and we ride the wave of confidence that we have done a good job and that we are okay because we've made ourselves okay. We are impressed by ourselves, and we are impressed with those around us, and we are impressed with what man can manufacture. But there is a reality that there are times of clarity when we realize that we do not have as much as we wished we had. That there is an imperfect world in which we live in, that there are powers that are stronger than we have as individuals or even collectively, that humble us to a place where we have to recognize that there's something greater than ourselves. The question is, what do we do when those times happen? We've been in this series that we started last week called A Walk in the Park. And it's a little bit of a play on words. I think when we hear the phrase a walk in the park, we hear this idea and we get this picture in our head and we go, oh, this is like this beautiful temperature and beautiful sunlight and walking through this canopy of trees and you get to look on the landscape and it's just this, imagine the dog walking behind you and holding hand in hand with your spouse or a loved one, and see the pitter patter of your kids in front of you, and this idyllic scene comes along. And sometimes life is that way, and it is beautiful and it is awesome. But sometimes a walk in the park is just the opposite. It is a place of nightmares. It's a place of fear, a place of being lost. And as we are walking through this series of Walk in the Park, the question is if life is a park and this is our journey and we are on the trail, how do we do it well? How do we do it well? How do we recognize the beauty of the landscape and yet overcome the challenges that might be along the journey? And last week we talked about the duality of man and how we can choose to either go authentically into a relationship with God, or how we can try to design God or think of God in a compartmentalized way, where He can be a part of this part of my life, but I'm going to do this part of my life separate from Him. But instead, He says, I want to be with you the entire journey. I don't want you to just check in on a Sunday morning and forget me on Monday through Saturday. But I want you to do life every day of your life with me. I want to walk with you the entire trail. Today, we're going to look through a passage, and it's a passage over the last couple of days that I've fallen in love with. And I want you to kind of walk through it with me. There's some complexity to it, but we're going to walk through it together, so don't get frustrated or lost. But it's in Isaiah 41, and it's a passage of a prophet who is sitting here, and he is being told by God about the landscape of the world around him, but even more so, the landscape of God's heart himself. And it's this beautiful picture. But it's also a very much a reality of what it means to walk with God. And so let's pick it up. Here we go, verse 1. Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. Now I'm on the right thing. It says this, listen to me in silence, O coastlands. Let the peoples renew their strength. Let them approach. Let them speak. Let us together draw near for judgment. Context is important here. This is God calling out to all of the world. When he says coastlands, he means foreign lands. He means lands from afar. A lot of people, when they look at this, they think God is only calling those people, that he's only talking to people who are religious people, are spiritual people, or church people. And people have a tendency to put themselves into a category. Maybe you've even done that. Like you would even put yourself in a category of different ratings of even in your spirituality. Maybe you're hanging out in a church for the first time or listening online for the first time. And this is, to be quite honest, you would be like, I'm kind of like the coastland people. I'm like the people in the distance away from God. Well, if that's you and you kind of feel like, man, God has not been a huge part of your life up until this point, this is this first group that he's calling, and he's saying, hey, those from far away, I want you to come near. I want you to come into my presence. And as he invites them into his presence, he walks through this and listen to the words. He says, let the people renew their strength. Let them approach. Let them speak. Let us together draw near for judgment. And I think there's a couple of things that kind of interact here. The one is you have a holy God, the creator of the universe, calling people from the ends of the earth into his presence, into his holy presence. And because of his power and his authority, they come. And as they enter into his presence, he says, I am a place of renewal. I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. I know the world in which you exist has pain and struggles and challenges. And so I want you to know this is where you can be energized. This is where you can be energized. People that don't even recognize me know that I am a place where you can be energized. People that have never given me a second thought, who have never seen my face. I need you to know, come to me. This is a place you can be energized. He doesn't even do that, but he does something that is almost unheard of. In this time, the idea of approaching a king or somebody of authority and having a chance to utter words in their presence was not it. It was more of a you listen to me kind of context, typically. But instead, it wasn't a you listen to me context. He says, not only do I want you to come here and rest, but I want you to come here and I want you to voice. I want you to be energized, and then I want you to communicate with me. I want you to talk with me. I want to hear what's on your heart. He keeps going, and he says, let us together draw near for judgment. And here's what I'm guessing. Especially if you are still forming that understanding of who God is in your head and your heart, you see that word judgment, and there is a part of you, maybe even if you've been around church, that goes, ha! There's the other shoe. That, sure, come to me. Sure, be strengthened by me. Sure, you'll give me a voice, but you're going to judge me too. You're going to judge me too. That's why I've never come to you. That's why I've never spoken up. I love the strength part. I love the chance to pour my heart out part. Take the judgment part. That's the deal breaker. What God is asking is for a parlay. If you don't know what I mean by that. He's saying, I want you to come into my presence, and I want to hear your heart, and I want to hear your mind. But also, I want you to have a chance to hear mine. I'm a righteous God, and I love you. And I want you in my presence. But at the end of the day, I'm God, and so I need you to hear me. I need you to realize my righteousness, and I need you to realize your imperfection. The judgment isn't the end of the conversation, but it's a part of the conversation. And it's not how horrible you are, it's more how righteous I am. And how much I want there to be rightness for you. And so not only will I be a place of strength for you, a person that doesn't even understand me yet, who's never maybe even given me the time of day. I want to give you the strength, I want to give you the voice, but I also want to give you my opinion. But it's not out of striking you down, it's out of the desire to lift you up. It's out of the desire to lift you up. The conversation continues to go on. And God starts to give his reasoning why he can be in that place of judgment, that place of final opinion. Verse 2, it says, who stirred up one from the east, whom victory meets at every step. He gives up nations before him so that he trampled kings underfoot. He makes them like dust with his sword, like driven stubble with his bow. He pursues them and passes them on safely, by paths his feet have not trod. Who has performed and done all this, calling the generations from the beginning? I, the Lord, the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega, I am He. God announces His sovereignty. He announces His control. He announces His essence as being the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. It is not with hubris or arrogance, but with reality and with fact, where He says, I have called you in to look at my face, even that person who has never even put me in their mind or their heart. I want to call you from the coastlands. I want you to be in my presence. I will strengthen you. I will secure you. I will even give you a voice. But we're going to have a conversation. And I am owed that conversation because I am the King of Kings. What he's talking about is most likely the king of Babylon, who is mighty in its greatest part of their empire at this time. We were saying, who do you think brought that king that everybody looks at? Who everybody walks on the other side of the path and the other side of the trail from, because he is so mighty in your minds. Who do you think put that king in power? I did, God. Who do you think for generations has been in control of the narrative of the universe? The Alpha, the beginning, and the Omega, the end. That's me. I am God. And so not only do I call you to me, not only do I give you strength, not only do I even give you a presence and a voice in this conversation, but at the end of the day, you need to know who I am. I am God. I am not just the God of now, but I am the God of then, and I am the God of then. The beginning and the end. Their reaction is interesting. It's very common. It's something that we see all around us, and I'm going to be quite honest, it's something that each of us do. It's our human nature. The coastlands, verse 5, have seen and are afraid. The ends of the earth tremble. They have drawn near and come. What, in essence, this is saying is God has called them into his presence, and they have seen the reality of who he is. Nature screams his name. And in this prophecy, he is saying that both my love and my respect for mankind is evident, but my power is evident as well. My sovereignty in my hand is evident. And as they've come and they've seen it, they know that I exist. Whether they ignore me or they dismiss me, they know that I'm here. They've seen the work of my hand. But in that, verse 6, everyone helps his neighbor and says to his brother, "Be strong." The craftsman strengthens the goldsmith, and he who smooths with the hammer, him who strikes the anvil, saying of the solderer, I don't do that well, "It is good." And they strengthen it with nails so that it cannot be moved. What's going on here? What do you think? What are they doing? They've come into the presence of God. They've seen the mightiness of who he is. And then man has gotten with man, and they have said, we've seen who God is, and we see what he does, and we see what he can do. And now we're going to build our own idols together. And we're going to build a God that we can mold and control. And so you and I, we're going to team up. And you and I, we're going to team up. And as mankind, we are going to, even though we've seen the image of God, that's not good enough for us. Even though he's called us into our presence, we don't want to give up control. So now we're going to team up together as mankind, and we are going to conquer the world. In fact, we're going to create a God. We're going to create our own God. We've seen him, and it scares us. It scares us to the point that we want to do it ourselves. We want a God that we can control. We want a God that won't even wobble on its own. We want to make it so tight and so to specifications that we don't have to worry about it even falling over. You hear the language? You and me, we're going to get together and we're going to build ourselves an idol to worship. One that is so stable we don't even have to worry about it ever falling on us. And so the solution that man comes up with is, instead of listening to the God that has called them and that has showed himself to them, that has offered a relationship in a place of rest, they have said, no, we want to be in control, and so we're going to join together and make our own. And we're going to make it sturdy. That way, we're in full control. That God will stay right where he is. And when I decide to come and visit and worship, then he's there. But it's going to be on my terms, made by my hands, detailed with my desires. How much do we do that? We say we want the comfort, we want the strength. We want that person to walk through the park with us. We want that God that's over all things, because we know there's things that we can't control. There are things in life we can't control, and we certainly can't control death. But we don't want to give up the final say. We don't want to recognize the God of generations, the Alpha and the Omega. And so we band together and we manufacture our own God. And we say, it's not who you have told us and shown us who you are, but we're going to go back home and we're going to make what we can control. And we're going to put it in a place in town where we go and visit him, not where he is over us. God's response. Verse 8. He changes his audience, and it goes from the coastlands, the people that are ignoring him and trying to redesign him and trying to box him. And he says this, he says, but you, Israel, my servant. He goes through 3 different audiences here, by the way. The ones that I have chosen that have grown up in this. Jacob, who I have chosen, the one who has rebelled, even though he knows the truth. The offspring of Abraham, my friend, the one who sought God, who is deemed as righteous and faithful. And in this, we see that God is now talking to those who he has called. Those who know who God is because they have been blessed with growing up in it. Those who know who God is but are fighting with doubt and with life, and they know he's there, just like Jacob, who had to wrestle and had to have this aspect of this. It seemed like the spiritual walk in the park was more like a wrestling match than it was this vacation. Both of those imperfect. In fact, far from perfect. Struggling. And then Abraham, the righteous one, the one who is striving for God. The one who God used as a foundation. And in this, we have now seen 4 different groups of people. People who God has called to him that have never given him the time of day and don't know him. Ones that have grown up knowing him but struggle to stay in focus with him. Ones that know him but struggle with doubt and living it out. And ones that have fallen in love with Jesus and have allowed them to be the Lord of their lives. And he's calling these people, and as he's calling them in, he's going, verse 9, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from its furthest corners. These are the people that you see didn't go back and start creating their own idols. It's like the coastlands, but the people that said, God, you are my God and I see you. Even in my imperfection and in my doubt and in my struggles, I see you. I'm not manufacturing by my own logic or my own hand who you are and how you should work. I'm leaving that to you. Doesn't mean I'm good at it. In fact, the majority of the people that he's talking about here are stinking bad at it. They're just bad at it. Only one person is named as the righteous out of this whole group. But he says, verse 9, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from its furthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and I have not cast you off. You're with me. Verse 10. Here's the hope. You ready for this? I wept last night as I read this. I need this. I got nothing. Physically, torn up. Emotionally, torn up. Got nothing. I need this. Fear not, for I am with you. Fear not, for I am with you. Israel, you bums who can't keep focused on me for longer than 10 minutes, fear not, for I am with you. Jacob, you knucklehead who struggles with doubt and has to wrestle with me, fear not, I am with you. Abraham, who strives to honor me in the best of his ability, fear not, I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. You might not have it, but you got to know you don't need it, because I've got it for you. I am not a God who sits as a manufactured idol by the minds of men. I am the God, the Alpha, the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I bring up kings and I lower kings. And I've got you. I am not an aberration of a human to be controlled. I do not sit as a stable idol on the ground. I am your God. You cannot go away from me. I am there. And as I am there, I offer you the same thing that I offered the coastland, the people that have never seen me. And the same offer is to you, especially to you that have said, I am with you. I am your strength, and I will hold you up. I have no expectation that you have this on your own. In fact, it is better to be limp in my arms than it is to be strong in your independence. And you don't have to worry, because I live past the now. I have controlled the then and the then. He goes on. And it says, behold, all who are incensed against you shall be put to shame and confounded. Those who strive against you shall be as nothing and shall perish. You shall seek those who contend with you, but you shall not find them. Those who war against you shall be as nothing at all. For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, Fear not, for I am the one who helps you. Do you hear what he said? The people that think they're so intelligent because they're going to manufacture their own God. Those people that bound together the goldsmith and that's made this perfect idol for themselves, and they thought, ha ha ha, we've got this. We want all the good, but none of the judgment. And so, because we don't want to be under a God, we're going to make our own. And what he's saying to those that are following him is they're going to be expecting that idol to provide them everything that they need because they don't know what they need. And they will sit there and they will be scratching their heads. They will be put to shame and confounded because they have chosen to do it their way, on their terms, on their picture of who God is, rather than recognizing me for who I am. And so as much as you might feel lost right now, I want you to take my hand and I'm going to walk through the park with you. And you will never be put to shame. And you will never have to feel like you're scratching your head. I will be your strength. And I will be with you. Walk with me. Hold my hand. You don't have to walk through the park alone. Whatever you do, don't feel like you know better than me. By golly, don't try to invent me. Allow me to be your God. Allow me to walk with you. Verse 14. If you're the person out there and you're like, dude, I don't know. I don't think you get it. I'm not worthy. I'm more like the outlander. I'm more like the guy who's been manufacturing his own God. I've been more like the person who has put him in a corner and said, I'll visit you when I want, but I don't really want you to walk through the park with me hand in hand. That's a little bit too intense. I don't really want your judgment, and so I'm going to kind of take the parts I like of your authority and the strength and the comfort and the idea, and I'm going to leave the other parts. If that's you, or if you're kind of like me right now, like you ain't got much to you. Like you've been through it. Mentally, emotionally, physically, through your career. Maybe you're the stubborn person that's like, I'm good. But you got something going on right now where you know you're not good. Because you're weak. And you know it, but you don't want anybody else to. And you know that might hold you back from holding on to God's hand the way that it wants you to because you're too worried about your context looking right than you are about jumping into the arms of a Father who loves you. If that's you, listen to this. Look who God specifically addresses next. Fear not, you worm Jacob, you men of Israel. He's not talking to Abraham anymore. He's not talking to the righteous dude that has it all figured out. He's talking the worm of Jacob. What's a worm? A mouthless, soft organism that just is existing and trying to make its way through an impossible world. Right? Blind. That's Jacob. He was not good at following God. This is not a compliment. This is talking about the person who's struggling the most, who's struggling with doubts, who's got no power in them, who's flip-flopping. He says, I want you to listen to me now because I'm talking directly to you. Not talking to Abraham, the person, the churchy person who's got it all figured out, who actually sings out loud in church. Not talking about that person. Not talking about the person who has Bible verses on their walls at home, who doesn't have dust on their Bible. Not talking to that person. I'm not talking to the person who wakes up every morning in a devotional and reads the daily bread. I'm not talking to that person. I'm not talking to the person that actually prays more than a semantic. I'm not talking to that person. I'm talking to the worm. I'm talking to the person who's struggling in faith, who's struggling in every aspect of who you are. I'm talking to the person clouded with doubt and frustration and hurt and pain. That's the person he's talking to. And hear what he says. Fear not, you worm Jacob, you men of Israel. I am the one who helps you, declares the Lord. Your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. You know what a Redeemer is? Let me give you some context here. A Redeemer was a family member, almost specifically in a widow's life, when she lost her husband and had no means to take care of herself, where he said, I will take care of you. You have lost that partner that was given to you in life to walk with you, and I will take care of you. That's a Redeemer. He says, take my hand. I will be your best friend. I will make sure you don't have a need. I will make sure you don't have a desire. I will make sure you won't go hungry. I will make sure you will never be alone. You may have been weak in faith. You may have struggled to put the whole picture together. You may have fought me and had doubts, but I am here for you. I am your Redeemer. I will make sure that you will never be alone. I will make sure you always have a roof over your head. I will make sure you always have a hand to hold as we walk through the park together. I will be your strength. Hold my hand. He's not talking to the perfect, he's talking to the imperfect. And his promise is to be everything that we need. But listen, and this is where it goes above and beyond. From worm in verse 14 of an individual who can barely get through soil, to this picture in verse 15, behold, I make you a threshing sledge, new, sharp, and having teeth. From a worm that can barely get through an inch of soil in a day, he says, I will build into you, and as I hold your hand, I will strengthen you, and I will turn you into the best farming machine ever. A worm that could barely get through the soil, I will turn you into the biggest combine you have ever imagined. Farmers, woo! And you will be as a brand new, sharpened teeth to your blade, and you will have a power that will not just get through crops. Listen to the picture. You shall thresh the wheat? No. He said, you shall thresh the mountains and crush them. This is not your prototypical threshing machine pulled by a donkey. I'm going to make you an earth mover, an excavator of proportions that you would never imagine. I'm going to take you from the worm that can barely get to the soil to a person who conquers the world around them. But do not invent me, because all of that is coming from me, your God, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I am the source of that strength. You cannot be and will never be, but I can make you into that. And you might be hurting now, and you might be missing stuff now, but I've got things for you that are greater than you can imagine. Jump into my arms. Hold my hand as we walk through the park. Hold my hand as we walk through the park. You shall winnow them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the tempest or the storm shall scatter them, and you shall rejoice in the Lord. In the Holy One of Israel you shall glory. Not only will he take the challenges and the obstacles along the traveling route, and he will give you power over them, but he will obliterate them from your sight to the point where you're okay, and it won't matter at all, and as if they weren't there. Because he's taking care of all the things that matter. He's got you. Because you held his hand. You didn't try to reinvent him. You said, I take you, my God, and I trust in you. Not in my own mind, not in my own thoughts. You're not an invention of us, but you are who you are, and in that I trust. You are the God that called me, and I'm answering that call. Ran out of time. If you need to keep reading about his promise, then here's my suggestion to you. When you go home today, read 17 through 20. It talks about when we feel like we have no hope, he brings life. When we feel like there's nothing in front of us towards walking to, he says, I have everything you need to sustain you. When you feel like you don't got much in yourself, he not only promises to take your hand, but he promises to bring up something to get you through. Verse 8, but you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest corner, saying to you, you are my servant, I have chosen you and not cast you off. He's talking to you. If you're here and you're listening to this, whether in Coldwater, Michigan, or here, or at your home in Grass Lake or Manchester or Chelsea, he's talking to you and he's calling you. And he's asking you to come into his presence. And he's asking you to hold his hand because he wants to walk in a relationship with you. He is not a man-made concept. He is a living God who loves you and cares about you and wants to walk through life with you. He asks that you put your faith in him, that you're okay with his judgment. But here's the beautiful thing. Are you ready? Are you ready? In our sin, we deserve the judgment. But in his mercy, he's provided an answer through Jesus Christ. And he has said, my judgment is that I love you. And therefore I sent my son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for you. And as I gave that up and gave him up on your behalf, I made it so that you could be forgiven. And so what the people who are making their own God don't get, what they don't understand, because they're so scared of the judgment, they want everything else, but they want to control God, is that when they say, God, you can't be in control of my life, I am not going to put my faith in you, I like the good, but I don't want the judgment, what they are really giving up is his forgiveness and his mercy. And in their arrogance, they are saying, but I want to control you. And God says, I don't think you get it. I'm going to judge you, but guess how I'm going to judge you? Worthy of my love. And so as you hold my hand, I have given you my son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for you. And in that, I give you forgiveness. Are you guilty? Yes. Will you ever have to face that? No. Why? Because I gave my son for you instead. And so put your faith in me. Hold my hand. Put your arrogance aside. Stop manufacturing your own God. And trust in who I am, the Alpha and the Omega. But the God who wants to walk with you. If you have never placed your faith in Jesus Christ, if you have never grabbed his hand, if you have been in an effort to manufacture your own God that you can control, maybe today is the day in which you walk through the park and for the first time you say, God, I recognize you as my God, and I recognize the gift of your son, Jesus Christ, and how he died on the cross for my sins, and how you want to hold me and build me and make me into something new. And so I grab your hand and I choose to put my faith in you and walk through life with you. Thank you for loving me. If you've never done that, here's the cool thing. He's calling you now. He's just waiting for you to say, I hear you. We're going to have this song that we're going to sing. And it's about hearing the call of God. It's about a specific person, Lazarus, who God actually allowed to defeat death. And in the same way, he promises us the same thing, where he says, not only do I take care of your day-to-day as I walk through with you, but I've taken care of death as well, because with the faith that you put in me, I will give you eternity with me as well. And so even death doesn't have power. If over the next couple of minutes you hear God calling you and you have not grabbed his hand, or you need to re-secure your grip, allow that worship and allow that conversation to be to God. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, you're a great and mighty God. I'm not coming to you with strength today. You know that more than anybody else. I'm coming to you as a broken person. Tired in my heart, tired in my body, tired in my head. But if there is anything that you've taught me over the years, it's that this is when you do your best work. It is when my picture of you is thrown away and the picture of who you really are becomes the most clear. When my arrogance and my pride is put to the side, and where all I can do is grab onto your hand and put my life and my strength in your arms. I don't think I'm alone in this. In fact, I know I'm not. For many of us, we need that Redeemer. We need that person who's going to love us, who's going to take care of us, who's going to guide us. Thank you for the fact that you take us in our imperfection, that you can handle our doubts, but you ask us to depend on you, not an image of you that we've created, but the reality of who you are, and you tell us you are. And in that, you tell us that you are a loving God who sent his son to die on the cross on our behalf. And what you ask in return is not perfection, but devotion. A desire to put our faith in you, to take our sin and put it in your hands, to allow you to forgive us and to walk with us. Thank you that you are a loving God. Give us the strength to depend on you. We love you and we praise you. In your name we pray. Amen.
On new songs, we normally just have you guys stay seated, but some of the lyrics in the song say rise up repetitively. So if you would please rise up and stand with us as we sing this song. Don't feel pressure to actually sing along. If you know it, if you've heard it on the radio recently, awesome. But this is really just a time to listen to those lyrics. In the dark and all alone, growing comfortable, are you too scared to move and walk out of this tomb? Buried underneath the lies that you believed, safe and sound, stuck in the ground, too lost to be found. You're just asleep, and it's time to leave. Come on, rise up, take a breath, you're alive now. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? You're brand new, power of death couldn't hold you. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? Rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus. When he said your name, the thing that filled your veins was more than blood, it's kind of love. Wash your sin away. Now the door is open wide, and the storm's been rolled aside. The old is gone, the light has come, so come on, rise up, take your breath, you're alive now. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? You're brand new, power of death couldn't hold you. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? Rise up, rise up. He's calling us to walk out of the dark. Oh, he's giving us new resurrected hearts. Oh, he's calling us to walk out of the dark. Oh, he's giving us new resurrected hearts. Come on, rise up, take a breath, you're alive now. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? You're brand new, power of death couldn't hold you. Can't you hear the voice of Jesus calling us out from the grave like Lazarus? Rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus. Rise up, rise up, out from the grave like Lazarus.
Oh, that was amazing. Wow. If you didn't get the message, he's calling us, church. He's calling us. We have a good and loving Father that is pursuing us, who is running towards us with open arms, who wants us with all of our baggage and our imperfection, and we get to run to him. So let's run to him this week. Hey, I'm excited to announce that we have an opportunity to come back in community even more so. Next Step groups are starting up again, so we're pumped about that. We have 3 groups that are starting up. So we have our Sunday night group, which is families with teens. So that's pretty much the entire family. All right, that's going to be starting up next Sunday. The rally is starting up again next Sunday as well. We have our multi-generational group starting up next Tuesday in Manchester. And then we have our last one. It's a multi-generational. That's a tough word, right? It is. Say that 10 times fast. On Wednesdays. So multi-generational, hanging out on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. So come hang out with us. If you've never been a part of a Next Step group, it's a great way to be in community. We get to encourage one another and lift each other up, talk about the message, and just sharpen one another as we pursue our relationship with God wherever we're at. So keep that in mind. But church, great seeing you today. We look forward to seeing you next weekend. Have an incredible week. Love you guys. Take care.